What if I told you that the most advanced early warning system currently utilized by our aerospace agencies is not actually orbiting our planet in the cold vacuum of space? What if the absolute pinnacle of human astrophysics, the very machine that silently listens to the violent apocalyptic heartbeat of the cosmos, was not engineered by modern scientists in a sterile laboratory? Instead, it buried hundreds of feet beneath the choking, suffocating canopy of the Guatemalan jungle. And what if this machine is not constructed of wires, silicon chips, or titanium plating, but is rather a living, shifting pool of liquid metal that has been flawlessly operating in total darkness for over 10,000 years? Welcome to the ultimate archaeological anomaly, a discovery so profoundly terrifying, so completely unexplained, and so incredibly advanced that it violently shatters every established timeline of human evolution we have ever been taught. We have always been told that human history is a straight line, a slow, agonizingly gradual crawl from primitive stone tools to the modern silicon age. But the suppressed truth, hidden deep beneath the thick limestone crust of Mesoamerica, suggests something entirely different. History is not a linear path of progress. It is a desperate loop of survivors. And someone, long before the Maya ever stacked their first limestone block, built a machine to warn them about the end of the world. For decades, the dense, humid rainforests of Central America have been viewed by academia as the exclusive domain of ancient stone pyramids, primitive sacrificial altars, and lost tribal cities slowly swallowed by the relentless passage of time. Every single day, exhausted archaeologists hack their way through the thick, poisonous vines, expecting to find nothing more significant than fractured clay pottery shards, weathered jade ornaments, or perhaps another intricate astronomical calendar carved into dead, silent stone. They dig into the dirt with the absolute, unquestioning certainty that they are studying a civilization that, while culturally rich and mathematically curious, was fundamentally technologically inferior to our modern industrialized age. They believe without a shadow of a doubt that they are merely looking at the primitive past. Until one day, everything changed. A classified, deep, penetrating LiDAR scan, sweeping across a completely uncharted and supposedly barren sector of the Piton Basin, detected an impossible geometric anomaly beneath the forest floor. The radar did not bounce off a buried temple. It did not outline a collapsed tomb or an ancient drainage system. It revealed a perfectly spherical, artificially created, vacuum-sealed subterranean chamber located exactly 328 feet deep within the solid bedrock. The sheer physical precision of the excavation alone defied the capabilities of any known ancient tool and, frankly, challenged modern engineering. There were absolutely no chisel marks on the walls, no signs of labor. The interior surfaces were entirely vitrified, melted into a smooth, flawless glass by an intense directional flash heat process that even our most advanced tunnel boring machines struggle to replicate today. It was as if the Earth had been vaporized in an instant, but the true mind-bending impossibility lay quietly at the very center of this abyssal room. When the heavy containment seal was finally breached by a specialized drilling team, the expedition members did not find crumbling bones, sacrificial gold, or forgotten scrolls. They found a massive, perfectly circular basin spanning exactly 40 feet in diameter, carved from an unknown black mineral. And pooling quietly inside this dark basin was a substance that instantly brought the brightest, most arrogant minds in modern material science to a complete and devastating halt. It was a vast pool of silvery liquid metal. At first glance, it resembled liquid mercury, yet it behaved like absolutely nothing found naturally on this earth. When exposed to the sudden rush of humid, oxygen-rich jungle air, it did not evaporate. It did not oxidize, tarnish, or react chemically in any observable way. And most baffling, most terrifying of all, thermal imaging cameras immediately short-circuited trying to comprehend its temperature. The liquid was constantly maintaining a thermal state near absolute zero, acting as a flawless room-temperature superconductor right in the middle of the sweltering heat of the subterranean tropics. The scientific community was completely paralyzed. every fundamental law of thermodynamics, every textbook written on material physics seemed to instantly collapse within the circular boundaries of this ancient, silent room. Yet the absolute helplessness of the researchers had only just begun. As they stood there in the darkness, illuminated only by their harsh halogen lamps, they realized the surface of this impossible liquid was not still. It was alive with microscopic, relentless motion. Without any mechanical input from the researchers, without any wind in the sealed chamber, or any seismic vibration from the tectonic plates below, the flawless silver mirror would suddenly and violently erupt into incredibly complex, mathematically perfect cymatic geometric patterns. These were not random splashes or chaotic waves. They were highly organized, three-dimensional wave functions, shifting, morphing, and collapsing with a terrifying calculated purpose. The liquid was reacting to something invisible. It was listening to a frequency that human ears could not hear, vibrating in perfect harmonious resonance with a colossal force originating far, far beyond the boundaries of our own solar system. The sheer, crushing magnitude of this realization struck the scientific team with a heavy, suffocating dread. They were not looking at a primitive ancient artifact used for superstitious rituals. They were standing inside the core of a functioning, immensely powerful cosmic machine, built by an intelligence that was unimaginably ahead of its time. But the true suffocating terror, the realization that would completely and violently shatter the very foundation of modern astrophysics, did not occur until an elite, highly classified team of quantum physicists was quietly flown into the deep jungle under the absolute cover of darkness. They surrounded the ancient silent basin with hypersensitive, ultra-high-speed microscopic cameras, desperately trying to map and decode the chaotic geometric language of the liquid metal. For agonizing weeks, they recorded the sudden, violent ripples, completely unable to decipher the cosmic trigger. And then a rogue data analyst made a desperate, almost insane decision that would change human history forever. He bypassed the local geological sensors and synchronized the real-time fluid movement of the ancient silver anomaly with the raw classified data feed coming directly from LIGO, the Laser Interferometer Gravitational Wave Observatory. When the two massive data sets were finally laid on top of each other, the underground control room fell into a dead, horrifying silence. The correlation between the two was not just a mere similarity. It was an absolute, flawless, terrifyingly exact match. Every single time two massive black holes violently collided in the deepest, darkest trenches of the universe, billions of light years away from our fragile planet, this subterranean pool of liquid metal would instantly contort into a specific, hyper-complex geometric wave. It was not a primitive calendar mapping the seasons. It was a massive subterranean antenna, perfectly tuned to receive the most destructive gravitational waves of the cosmos. Therefore, the global scientific establishment suddenly found itself staring blindly into an abyss of absolute, undeniable impossibility. The ancient machine was doing something that Albert Einstein had explicitly stated, in no uncertain terms, was physically impossible. During a massive universe-shaking gamma-ray burst event detected in a distant, dying galaxy, the ancient liquid metal reacted violently, generating a massive, jagged wave across its perfect silver surface. But the actual light from that catastrophic cosmic explosion, the high-energy radiation that our multi-billion-dollar orbital satellites are specifically designed to look for, did not hit Earth's advanced detectors until exactly 4 hours later. The liquid metal was receiving the warning signal faster than the speed of light itself. By some incomprehensible, god-like manipulation of quantum entanglement or multidimensional physics, this ancient fluid was communicating directly with dying stars in real time, completely bypassing the fundamental, universal speed limit of our reality. The implications were catastrophic for modern science textbooks. We were forced to swallow the bitter truth that our most advanced cutting-edge orbital observatories were essentially deaf, dumb, and blind compared to a pool of liquid buried in the dirt by a supposedly primitive spear-throwing civilization. Because of this terrifying, world-altering revelation, the inevitable, crushing weight of the shadow government immediately descended upon the Piton Basin. The entire archaeological excavation site was violently and permanently locked down by heavily armed, unidentified military contractors operating outside of any international jurisdiction. All academic papers mentioning the anomaly were ruthlessly scrubbed from global databases, officially labeled as a localized magnetic anomaly or a tragic, humiliating sensor malfunction. A sudden, massive influx of anonymous shell companies systematically purchased hundreds of square miles of the surrounding jungle, sealing the discovery off from the rest of humanity behind electrified fences and armed drone patrols. But the most chilling, terrifying detail of this entire operation is that NASA and the military did not attempt to drain the liquid. They did not attempt to dismantle the stone basin or move it to a sterile, heavily guarded laboratory in the Nevada desert. They left it exactly where it was, deep in the dark, silent earth, and they quietly hardwired their own classified, subterranean server farms directly into the ancient chamber. They weaponized the anomaly. They transformed a 10,000-year-old alien artifact into the most advanced, highly classified early warning radar system on the face of the planet. And also because of this, a terrifying, heavily suppressed hypothesis has slowly begun to circulate among the few rogue scientists who managed to see the raw, unfiltered data before the military lockdown erased their life's work. It is a hypothesis that keeps the greatest analytical minds of our generation awake at night, staring up at the dark, uncaring sky with absolute paralyzing dread. You do not spend the immense, incomprehensible amount of energy required to build an interstellar gravitational tsunami warning system just to casually watch the stars for fun. You only build a massive, complex tsunami warning siren if you know for an absolute mathematical fact that a devastating tsunami is actually coming, and that it has a relentless, unstoppable cycle. The pre-Maya civilization, or whoever handed this terrifying technology down to them before vanishing into the mists of time, knew that our solar system is caught in a deadly, recurring cosmic crossfire. This subterranean machine was engineered to lie in wait, perfectly preserved in a vacuum for millennia, waiting for one specific apocalyptic gamma-ray burst. A cosmic event so unimaginably violent, so intensely radiant, that it would instantly strip away our fragile ozone layer, boil the oceans into steam, and completely reset the biological clock of planet Earth, leaving nothing but dust and echoes. Until finally, we are left with the ultimate unresolved horror of our modern existence. The absolute humiliating impotence of modern science is not simply that we cannot build this machine, or that we cannot begin to understand its quantum liquid core. The true paralyzing terror is that we cannot turn it off. We are merely ignorant passengers on a sinking cosmic ship, staring blankly at a blaring alarm that we do not know how to fix. And recently leaked, highly classified reports from anonymous government whistleblowers suggest something truly apocalyptic is currently happening deep within that sealed jungle chamber. The surface of the silver liquid is no longer producing small, isolated ripples from distant black hole collisions. For the past 6 months, the entire pool has begun to throb with a massive, unified, unrelenting heartbeat. A slow, rhythmic, terrifying wave that is growing exponentially stronger every single day, locking onto a massive, unimaginable energy source that is rapidly approaching our fragile solar system from the very center of the Milky Way galaxy. The ancient silent alarm has finally been triggered. It is screaming in the dark. But this time, unlike the enigmatic gods who built it and fled into the stars, does humanity have any place left to hide? If this terrifying revelation challenged everything you thought you knew about our ancient past, do not forget to subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, and leave your thoughts in the comments below. Are we truly the pinnacle of evolution, or just another forgotten cycle waiting for the inevitable cosmic reset? Join us next time as we uncover another terrifying truth they desperately do not want you to see. Keep questioning everything.